Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your host, and we are diving headfirst into an AFC picture that is officially flipped completely upside down. Get ready to thank the Texans because holy heck, what exactly went down in Houston on Thursday night football was not just an upset. It was a seismic shift in the entire AFC landscape, one that places our New England Patriots in an utterly commanding position. The Buffalo Bills losing 23-19 to those Houston Texans, led by none other than Davis Mills, not even their star CJ Stroud, is a result that has rippled through the conference, and the implications for New England are absolutely enormous. This wasn't a fluke. This was the Texans' defense, which is secretly one of the most formidable units in the entire NFL, doing a job on Josh Allen, completely rattling him and getting him off his spot. This victory, paired with the Patriots' previous head-to-head win, means that while the Bills are only 2 games behind in the loss column, it is effectively a 3-game lead for New England. Yes, we still have to play them again, but we are now in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed, and that is a position we absolutely must, maintain. The performance from Buffalo was truly embarrassing, and it confirms what many of us have been saying for weeks. There is a formula to beat Josh Allen, and it involves consistent pressure and forcing him to rely on a wide receiving core that is, quite frankly, not up to standard. Allen had a pathetic 20 rushing yards in that game. He looked uncomfortable, scrambling backwards, constantly trying to avoid pressure, and he could never settle into a rhythm. This issue directly correlates with his weaponry on offense, and it's the same challenge that Drake May had to overcome last season and is now flourishing from. The Bills' receiving depth is poor. Khalil Shakir, a fantastic player in his own right, is best suited as a number 2 or 3 receiver, not the primary threat he's forced to be. Keon Coleman, whom they had hoped would step up into a top role, has been benched for the 2nd consecutive week. What an indictment of their draft strategy. Tyrell Shavers, an impact player just a week prior, was shut down with 0 catches, and the reinsertion of Gabe Davis, picked up off the scrap pile, into the starting lineup, tells you everything you need to know about the desperation in Buffalo. So, while they are getting Dalton Kincaid back from injury, and players like the highly effective Brandon Cooks might be on the trade or waiver wire, the fundamental problem is their inability to consistently block or provide elite receiving options, and the expectation is that they will bounce back. But this loss has put a massive, unmissable circle around their next matchup with the Patriots. This 3-game effective lead on the Bills heading into this pivotal weekend makes Sunday's game against the Cincinnati Bengals critical for the number 1 seed race. Looking at the overall playoff picture, the Patriots and the Denver Broncos are now tied atop the AFC at 9-2, though the Broncos currently hold the tiebreaker. So, in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts are lurking at 8-2, looking formidable, while the AFC North is a tight race with the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-4, constantly feeling the pressure of the Baltimore Ravens at 5-5-5-5. The wild card spots are now even messier. Buffalo has actually fallen behind the Los Angeles Chargers, who are also 7-4, with the Jacksonville Jaguars holding the last spot at 6-4-4. The Houston Texans, now 6-5, are just a spot out, proving that AFC South is far more competitive than anyone anticipated. But let's be honest, the team everyone is truly afraid of is the one that has played poorly all season yet still stands at 5-5. The Kansas City Chiefs, the team that has been in the Super Bowl for 3 straight years. The thought of dealing with Patrick Mahomes in a winner-take, all wild-card game is exactly why it is uber important for the Patriots to take care of their business, secure the number 1 seed, and get that first round bye. The Patriots are currently the betting favourite for the number 1 seed, and it's a combination of their success and a relatively easier schedule, but that means they must execute. Execution this Sunday depends entirely on who lines up under centre for the Bengals. Joe Burrow has reportedly taken full snaps for a 2nd straight day, indicating he is healthy and ready to return. Only question remains, do the Bengals want to put him at risk? This is a huge risk because he's coming back from an injury. He seems perpetually hurt, and the team is struggling at 3-7. Taking a gamble to further put their franchise quarterback in harm's way, especially behind an offensive line that has consistently failed him, seems like a monumental mistake. if they have the option. If Joe Flacco is genuinely hurt, the decision might be made for them. But for now, we must assume it is Burrow on Sunday. Zach Core, the acting defensive coordinator for the Patriots, was asked about this very problem, and he confirmed what we already know. We're preparing for both. Bo, outside of what's reported, we don't know what's going on, so we have to prepare for both. This is a significant detriment, because it forces the defensive coaching staff to split resources. They are not just focused on Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, or Bo Nix. They are now forced to analyze what Joe Burrow does well and what Joe Flacco does well. They must figure out what to take away from each of them, adding an incredible burden to the plates of the New England defenders, and we expect this decision to be held until game day to maximize the advantage for Cincinnati. Finally, we have to talk about the 9-win New England Patriots and an ongoing debate. Are they still overhyped? Yes, they are the betting favorite for the AFC bye. But is the hype warranted when considering the full scope of the NFL? Drake May is playing as well as anyone in the league right now, which is why he is firmly planted in the MVP conversation. Mike Vrabel, whom the Tennessee Titans made a horrible decision to fire, has instilled a winning culture here. So, they completely overhauled half the roster, and major kudos must go to Elliott Wolf and the Brain Trust for making the necessary gambles to pull this off. They have meticulously followed the blueprint of what the Washington Commanders did last year, creating a team with a perfect balance of talented, reliable veterans and high-ceiling, up-and-coming young players. It has worked to fruition. But how good can they truly be? We've already mentioned Denver is ahead, the Colts are on their heels, Buffalo is still circling, and you can never, ever write off Baltimore or Kansas City. That is a brutal path in the AFC. But even beyond the AFC, you must consider what the NFC brings to the table. While the Patriots won't face them until the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams, both at 8-2, continue to be the class of that conference. Yes, the Patriots took care of Tampa Bay and can go toe-to-toe with most contenders, but the Chicago Bears have ascended to 7-3. The Seattle Seahawks, despite a tough loss, are 7-3 with a defense that rivals Houston's intensity. The Green Bay Packers, despite treading water, have arguably the most talented overall roster in the entire NFL. And the San Francisco 49ers seem to be back in gear, with Brock Purdy returning, stabilizing their 7-4 record. Perhaps the team that is the most dangerous and hungry to bounce back as they figure out their coordinator situation is the Detroit Lions, who are starving to get back to the NFC Championship and would be an absolute nightmare matchup in the Super Bowl. There is a staggering amount of talent across the league. I think the Patriots are easily in the conversation for the top 15, and based on what they've done, they could argue for top 10. However, their quality of wins, the talent they've faced, and how they've performed in those key moments keep them just outside that top 5 tier. If they continue to win and continue to show that the 9-2 record is for real, the sky is the limit for this team. So we must avoid getting wrapped up in the hype of the number 1 overall seed. We need to understand that this is still a very young team. This is the first year of a new era. This is a massive culture shift. And there is an incredible amount standing in the way of the Patriots and a truly transcendental season. So, this is already a fantastic campaign. Only the 5th time in Patriots history a first-year head coach has produced a winning record. They are aiming for the AFC title, and we will continue to bring you every single update as they push forward, including that critical Buffalo game and those divisional matchups with Miami and New York still on the schedule. We are excited for Sunday in Cincinnati, and we'll continue to bring you the very latest.